Okay, you get born on earth as a pure being. When you're a baby, you're one with God, you're one with everything. You're pure consciousness. Then you go through this process of becoming an adult. You need to develop certain habits in order to survive, right? You need to install the habit of like, okay, I can't just jump off a building because that's gonna kill me, so I won't do that. I can't say this amongst these type of people because they will be offended and that will blah 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 blah. I need to protect myself. That's basically the ego. And it's like, when you grow up, it fragments you it separates you from God, separates you from the truth of who you really are. And as a natural byproduct of that, the whole experience of being a human is like, you get drawn to certain things that bring you back to God. If you pursue a passion, it's because it reminds you of who you really are. Subconsciously or consciously, doesn't matter. It's like you want to return to God. That is what everyone is trying to do. It doesn't matter what you call it, it's still there, and it is a process that is active. And like the whole, like, God, the name God has completely is so loaded. It's so loaded with a lot of negative connotation. That's because it's been corrupted and stuff, but the concept itself is eternal, right? And if you're on this road of like self-discovery, the trick is to like feeling concepts and feeling the truth, reading between the lines, like truly developing your spiritual sight. Is like, you can receive a bunch of information, right? And you can recognize patterns, universal patterns, and you just know that it's the truth. You don't need to read 10, 20, 30 books on a subject to know it's the truth, because if you know yourself, you will recognize yourself in the external world, right? But it's all scattered. And the more you connect with yourself, the more you can connect these pieces of information that you will find, because we're being bombarded with information. There's so much information out there, it's impossible to read everything, right? It's impossible to logically come to a conclusion of what is needed in order to grow. And that is why we need this feeling energy again. We need this feminine energy again, this tuning into this part of ourself, our imagination, our feelings, our emotions. We, instead of being distracted, we're so cut off from that part of ourself, and this society doesn't have anything that supports this energy inside of ourselves. So we need to go out and look for it ourselves. So that's why we want to connect with people who have this same urge to connect with something higher, something more meaningful, because there's no temples and fucking churches and stuff. It's all hollow. Most religions are so hollow and are so removed from what God really is. And it's like, it all comes down to connecting with yourself and making that journey back to what you were as a baby, which is pure consciousness. And you can still connect with that energy, but because like this ego is kind of like blocking the sun, right? Because this energy is infinite. It's inside of you, and it wants you to be who you really are. But you have this ego mind installed, which is based out of like your upbringing and your conditioning from the environment, and is blocking you from truly seeing the truth and feeling the truth. So yeah, I don't even know, like, I think I made like 5, 6, 7 videos, and I just I kind of like lose my train of thought, because like once you arrive at a space where you see that everything is connected, because everything is connected, it's kind of like hard to make a video that is very linear and is just making a point, because if everything's connected, you can jump from one place to another place and still see that connection. But if it's someone who is lost into his mind, into intellectual thinking, he'll just hear this and just like start to like look for like facts and like evidence, and like, you're not making sense, while it's like what I'm trying to explain isn't of the intellect alone. It is everything, and everything is not made out of logic, facts, rationality, science, math and shit. Well, everything is math, but like, it's not everything. And I kind of like have to develop this intellectual side of my brain to explain this side of yourself, basically, of ourselves, that is beyond the intellect, that is beyond grasping, that is beyond anything that you can really understand. It is elusive. You can't print it out on a piece of paper and just be like, here, this is the truth. It's impossible. It's impossible. And the thing is, like, if you know, you know. And if you don't know, it's because you've built up this structure in your mind that is over intellectualizing things, over analyzing things. That is the energy that is being installed in us, and it is being overstimulated in us, and it's causing us to not see the energy that is at the source of our being, which is so huge, infinite, and vast, and shines like the sun. But this ego just blocks out the sun. Look, this is the sun, right? Huge. The sun is huge. It's humongous. But my head is blocking the sun. How small is my head compared to the sun? How small is my head compared to the sun? You can do the math. You can do the math. Because I'm too lazy right now, but something that is so small, how can something that is so small and so insignificant block out the sun? This small and insignificant thing is your ego mind. It's your intellect. It can block out the beautiful, magnificent truth of who you are. That's what I'm trying to explain, and it's beyond explaining.